is on single order picking. If you remember from our last video on creating a wave, this is the wave that we have released in a single order picking type for this sales order. I can go to pick tasks. This constantly keeps a record of who's assigned to it, where they're picking it from. The way to get to the mobile device is by going to set up custom mobile app. Keep in mind, right, this might look different based on the permissions that you have. And we also make use of what's called a mobile login URL. So somebody who is a material handler looking at a mobile device doesn't necessarily need to go through all these parts of the screen to get to the mobile app. So when I open this in a new tab, it's going to open it in a large screen, right? Keep in mind, again, this would be on a screen about the size of your phone. So what we're in now is called the SCM Mobile, or the Supply Chain Management Mobile App. And that's what NetSuite's way of consolidating all supply chain related apps in one place. For today, we're going to click WMS. Now, when I do that, it's going to bring up a list of warehouses. If my employee record is assigned to one particular warehouse, I won't see this list. I'll just be directed to the warehouse I'm in. When I click that, I can see the list of all the activities I can perform in a warehouse, right? I can perform receiving activities, what we like to call miscellaneous movements. So our inventory status changes, our bin transfers, and then vendor returns. So for today, I'm going to click picking. Now, if you remember from our last video, we talked about single order picking and multi-order picking. We'll talk about reverse picks and quick ship in a later video. But for right now, we're going to focus on single order picking. When I do that, right, as we talked about in the wave video again, we can pick unreleased orders, so orders that have not been released to the warehouse floor or waived to the warehouse floor. An example of that might be I've gone through already all the orders that I need to pick for today, so I might want to get ahead on tomorrow's orders. For now, we're going to select released orders or our waived orders, and NetSuite's going to ask me what kind of orders I want to pick, transfer orders or sales orders, and in this case, right, I'm going to click sales order. When I do that, I'm going to get a list of all the sales orders that I can start to pick that have been released. I can see I have one pick task. I can type in the sales order name. I could scan it if I was given a pick ticket, for instance, or I can just select the sales order number. So what we have now are called pick tasks. So this lines out for each item for the sales order what needs to be picked. All I need to do is click on this line, and this is constantly keeping a track on the wave record of who is assigned this pick task and what their progress is on that pick task. So when I click the line, NetSuite's then going to ask me what bin. So NetSuite's going to recommend a bin for me. Now, if I'm using lot numbers and expiration dates, it's going to recommend this on a first expiry, first out basis. Otherwise, it will recommend preferred bins or based on status. But in this case, I can walk up to any bin. I could scan that bin barcode. I could type it in here, or I could select the link. When I do that, it's going to ask me again to validate my item. If I have barcodes on my pallet or item labels or box, I can go ahead and click this link. If I go to that bin and for whatever reason I see, okay, physically there's not actually any there, I can click bin empty, and this will report to the warehouse manager that this bin is actually empty. And we can use certain setup to block that bin from being picked from in the future until we've done a cycle count or checked out what is wrong with that bin. So I'm going to click the item to pick. NetSuite's then going to ask me, okay, how many do you want to pick? I need to pick 15 for this sales order. It's asking me to scan a lot because this item is lot tracked, and I can also choose the status of what I'm selecting. So I'm not going to take quarantine, right? I can set up on inventory statuses how I want inventory and the status to interact with transactions, and I'm just going to collect or scan even this lot number if I have the barcode. What NetSuite's going to ask me next is, okay, you've taken this quantity out of this bin. Do you want to use a pick carton in this case? I will just enter any sort of carton number. In the future, we can turn this setup off. You don't have to use pick boxes or cartons or anything of that matter. You can use pack cartons, though. We'll see that in a different setup. And now it's going to ask me where I'm staging this to. So I'm going to type in outbound staging. Even though the bin doesn't show up, I can still stage my inventory to that outbound staging location. And then from there, that's where I can use the pack station app or the shipping station app to manage my packing activities and my shipping activities. So I'm going to